नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
भगवति उत्तमश्लोके
भगवती उत्तम श्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
भगवति उत्तमश्लोके
भगवती उत्तम श्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु
नित्यं
भक्तेषु
भागवत सेवया
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
भगवति उत्तमश्लोके
भगवती उत्तम श्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
भगवति उत्तमश्लोके
भगवती उत्तम श्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु
नित्यं
अभद्रेषु
भागवत सेवया
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
भगवति उत्तमश्लोके
भक्ति उत्तम श्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी
नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं भागवत सेवया भक्ति उत्तम श्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति
भक्तिर्भवति
नैष्ठिकी
नैष्ठिकी
माताजी
भक्तिर्भव नष्टप्रायेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु
अभद्रेषु
भद्रेषु
अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
सेवया भगवते
भगवते उत्तम
उत्तम
श्लोके
श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी
नैष्ठिकी
नष्ट destroyed
नष्टप्रायेषु
प्रायेषु almost to nil
almost nil
abhadreshu
अभद्रेषु
all that is inauspicious
all that is
nityam
inauspicious नित्यं
regularly
regularly
bhagavata
भागवता
srimad bhagavatam
श्रीमद्
or the
भागवतम
pure devotee
or the pure
sevaya
devotee सेवया
by serving
by serving
bhagavati unto
Bhagavati
the personality of godhead
unto the personality of
uttama
Godhead, Uttama,
transcendental sloke
Transcendental,
prayers
Shloke, prayers,
bhakti loving
Bhakti,
service
loving
bhavati
service. Bhavati
comes into being
comes into being.
Nestiki
Neshtiki,
irrevocable. Translation and
irrevocable.
purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Teacher.
Translation. By regular attendance in classes on the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Purport. Here is the remedy for eliminating all inauspiciousness, all inauspicious things within the heart, which are considered to be obstacles in the path of self-realization. The remedy is the association of the Bhagavatas. There are two types of Bhagavatas, namely the book Bhagavat and the devotee Bhagavat. Both the Bhagavatas are competent remedies, and both of them or either of them can be good enough to eliminate the obstacles. The devotee Bhagavat is as good as the book Bhagavat because the devotee Bhagavat leads his life in terms of the book Bhagavat, and the book Bhagavat is full of the information about the personality of Godhead and its pure devotees, who are also Bhagavatas. Bhagavata book and person are identical. The devotee Bhagavat is direct representative of the Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. So by pleasing the devotee Bhagavat, one can receive the benefit of the book Bhagavat. Human reason fails to understand how by serving the devotee Bhagavat or book Bhagavat, one gets gradual promotion on the path of devotion. But actually, these are the facts explained by Srila Narada Dev, who happened to be a maid servant's son in previous life. The maid servant was engaged in the menial service of the sages, and thus he also came into contact with them. And simply by associating with them and accepting the remnants of footsteps left by the sages, the son of maid servant got the chance to become the great devotee and the personality Srila Narada Dev. These are the miraculous effects of association of Bhagavatas. And to understand these effects practically, it should be noted that by such sincere association of the Bhagavatas, one is sure to receive transcendental knowledge very easily, with the result that he becomes fixed in devotional service of the Lord. The more progress is made in devotional service under the guidance of the Bhagavatas, the more one becomes fixed up in transcendental loving service of the Lord. The message of Godhead. Therefore, one have to be Bhagavatas, therefore, have to be received from the devotee Bhagavat. And the combination of these two Bhagavatas will help the neophyte devotee to make progress on and on. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschad Desatarini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So, welcome you all for today morning Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. And I seek blessings of all the devotees present here that I can speak in something in glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam and for purification of my heart. So, this particular sloka is one of the most important slokas in Srimad Bhagavatam, wherein this particular sloka, the context I'll just explain. Just before this sloka, basically these slokas are describing the 9 stages of devotional services. You know what are the 9 stages of devotional service, correct? Begins with Anartha Nivritti, correct? No, that is the 4th stage. First one, Adho Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, then Bhajan Kriya. Next one, Anartha Nivritti. So this particular sloka talks about Anartha Nivritti and Nishtha, both. So it begins with what? Nashta Prayesu Abhadresu. Abhadras means basically the inauspicious things or the anarthas. Anarthas are the only inauspicious things in our heart because they become obstacle to remember Krishna or to perform devotional service. So the context of this particular sloka is that this particular sloka describes these two things, Anartha Nivritti and Nishtha Bhakti. You know. So what is Anartha Nivritti? Anartha Nivritti means when one starts performing devotional service, one starts facing the internal challenges within the heart that sometimes mind says whether I should get up early morning or should I sleep more, and lust is attacking on the devotee, then anger is also there. Initially when we come in the process of devotional service, then devotee says susukham kartum avayam, everything is very relishable, everything is very joyful, and we take one pakoda, then devotee gives along with that another pakoda and then halwa also. After some time, when we start performing devotional service, then they will say, Prabhu, now you have to cook pakoras. Enough of your days of getting free pakoras now. Now we are supposed to serve pakoras and also. And after some days, devotees will say, Prabhu, regular pakoras, eating too much pakoda is not good for your health also. You will feel too much sleepy in the chanting and things like that. Then devotees will say, Prabhu, जी शुरू में तो बहुत खिलाया था, अभी तो पूरा वापस निकाल रहे हैं. So this is called what? Anartha Nivritti stage, wherein one goes through lot of struggles, both internally and externally. But nevertheless, once this Anartha Nivritti gets over, then one reaches to the platform of Nishtha Bhakti. So this particular sloka describes how one reaches to the platform of Nishtha Bhakti. Nishtha Bhakti one reaches by serving these two Bhagavatas. One is the book Bhagavat and the second one is person Bhagavat. And here Prabhupada is making one amazing statement if you see here. Human reason fails to understand how by serving the devotee Bhagavat, or the book Bhagavad, one gets gradual promotion on the path of devotion. So human reason completely fails. If you try to apply logic and reason, one will become completely confused. One will be baffled actually. So I'll tell one small story actually, which is described by His Holiness Indradimna Swami Maharaj in relation with the Vrindavan pastimes actually. So this particular lady Mataji actually she was there in Himalayan region like Kashmir and that kind of region actually she was staying. So her father was actually a king and she was the princess and she was very beautiful actually. But she had a maid servant actually, and that maid servant happened to be one of the devotees. So she had been to Vrindavan, and she got to know about the glories of Vrindavan, and she heard actually the pastimes of Radha Govindev and everything like that. Specifically Govindev's pastimes. That maid servant heard. So that maid servant actually, would describe the stories and the pastimes of Radha Govindev ji to this particular princess also. So eventually the time came for the princess, to get married actually. So at one point of time, the king was thinking that okay, now I will, get marry my daughter to some prince like that now. And they were actually in Muslim family, so the culture was little more, degraded and things like that. People just consider actually the opposite sex to be a, field for growing children like that. And the father was also very, very, obstinate that actually, her daughter should get married somehow or other. And the opposite person whom they were searching actually was not at all a qualified boy actually. Rather, he was so-called a prince from the other state and things like that. But he was actually indulged into many bad habits and things like that. So she thought that I have given my heart to Radha Govinda Devi like that. And this girl was the only princess of the father, and the mother would love this prince so much. So at one point of time, she thought that I will marry only Govind Dev Ji. You know, just by hearing the pastimes of Govind Dev Ji. That too from whom? The maid servant actually. The maid servant would describe actually the pastimes of Govind Dev Ji very nicely. So at one point of time, she thought, now I will just run away from the house. Just imagine, how much determination she had. So she ran away from the house, and she was running. As she went out of the house, actually the father got to know that something is wrong. She has run away and things like that. Already they were, knowing that some symptoms are appearing in her that she not wanting to get married and things like that. Nevertheless, she ran away from there. Father sent the soldiers and everybody like that. So she was running, running, running. At one point of time, she comes across that the soldiers are very close by. She was able to hear the sound of the horses, dug, 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 like that. They are, the horses are coming. So she thought that she should hide herself somewhere. So there was a dead camel actually, and the dead camels, the inside, the flesh part was eaten actually by some vultures and things like that. Only the skin part was just lying like that. So she went actually and hid herself in the body of the dead camel and things like that. So the soldiers they actually followed her footsteps, and then they found out that actually she has come till here, but then now afterwards we are not able to find out the footsteps, and there they saw that actually some dead corpse is lying. For 3 days they had their camp there only, thinking that she might be hiding somewhere under the tree or under some bush or something like that. She will come out. For 3 days, this princess was also hiding in the body of the dead corpse, the camel's body actually. Can you imagine? And then after 3 days, the soldiers they thought that probably she died or she went away somewhere or she fell in some ditch or something like that. So what can be done? So they went and reported to the king saying that actually, she's no more. We could not find her and things like that. After 3 days, she came out, but there were some other sages and saints and others those who were doing austerities in that particular place. So they saw that actually she is coming out of the body of the dead camel. So they asked her, "Arey, how come you have so much determination that you are hiding in the now just imagine, the smell of dead camel is coming so bad. It is so obnoxious smell actually. Like early morning, I was just standing here and I saw that some people were cooking something here and some bad smell was coming. So I just told one devotee that please close the windows. Bad smell is coming. So just for chanting, some bad smell is coming. Some non-veg they are cooking or some onion garlic they are cooking actually. The bad smell affects us so much. Just imagine, hiding the body of a dead camel, not for only 3 minutes or something like that, 3 days. And that too, she did not get her food or something like that. So the sages asked her, how come you are hiding yourself in the dead body of this particular camel? She said, actually, the smell of this material world, is much more dangerous than the smell of the dead corpse, this camel's body actually. And the anarthas in my heart are, more dangerous, or they are, smelling more badly than the, you know, dead body of this, camel. And then the sages, they got shocked. Then they asked, where you are heading to? Then she told that I am planning to go to Vrindavan. Please tell me, how do I go to Vrindavan? Then they described her that how she is supposed to go to Vrindavan and things like that. So if you try to apply now logic and reason, that how come she got so much determination, you know, just by hearing the pastimes of Govind Dev Ji, that too from a maid servant, human reason will completely fail. Like that you see in Srimad Bhagavatam also. One personality is there. She also developed like this kind of determination. She was ready to go just against her father, brother, family lineage and everything. Who is she? Mother Rukmini, correct? So she is setting example for everybody else also to follow. Just imagine the mothers, they are setting like this kind of examples, then what to speak of? The so-called, boys or the, devotees who are nicely situated and not having such obstacles actually. So these devotees, these pastimes are actually worth hearing again and again, because their determination actually gives us hope that, we can also perform some sort of bhakti and things like that. So human reasons completely fail when it comes to, you know, understand about the glories of, devotee Bhagavad and book Bhagavad, both. Like another pastime I'll tell you. About His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj. So Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj was a sannyasi in ISKCON. So at one point of time, he was ordered by GBC that you go and build a temple in this particular place here. Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, he was, fully attached to Srimad Bhagavatam. Every day, hours and hours, he used to read Bhagavatam actually like that. And he was ordered by GBC. Now, GBC is what? The governing body from, Council of ISKCON. And that is like representing Srila Prabhupada. So whatever GBC says, one has to do. So he said, okay, no problem. So he took his Bhagavatam, went to one particular field, the place where they assigned that, go to this particular area or this particular city and build a temple. So he went his Bhagavatam, started reading his Bhagavatam, continuously was reading his Bhagavatam. And then, one particular merchant comes and he says, oh Swamiji, you are so much absorbed in Bhagavatam. Why not, you have a temple? He said, yes, please build a temple. I also wish that, let there be a temple like that. So, then, the merchant came, businessman came and just built a very beautiful temple for Maharaj. So like that. So now human reason will completely fail actually here also. Whatever logic reason you want to apply, all those logic reason actually will completely fail. So these are the glories of both book Bhagavad and devotee Bhagavad. But what happens in our personal life when we are practicing bhakti, many times we come across actually these three levels of bhakti. So, in recent conversation with His Grace Sundarsham Prabhu and question answer session with His Grace Radhesham Prabhu, we came across, so they were describing there are three types of struggles that a devotee performs or faces. The first one is called anartha bhakti. You know, so many times when we are performing bhakti, we assume that we are doing what? Bhakti, but that is not bhakti. What is that? Anartha bhakti. So what is anartha bhakti? Anartha bhakti means one is conscious about one's anarthas and is too much thinking about one's anarthas only. What is that? Oh, I'm feeling lusty, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that, or I'm not feeling taste in bhakti, I'm not feeling taste in chanting, I'm feeling too much sleepy in chanting. So one is too much conscious about these things, and even while doing the, other limbs of devotional service also one is too much, conscious about anarthas or one's, purification of the heart only. He is so much conscious about these things that he forgets about everything else. And such people sometimes they become sentimental and they become even, uh, mental also. They lose their, discrimination power and things like that. And any devotee comes, they will, keep crying, Prabhuji, I'm like this, I'm fallen, I'm this, I'm that, and all. And if they say something, please do this. No, Prabhuji, I'm so fallen. How can I do this? Are Baba, please, broom the temple of the Lord. So, Prabhu, temple of the Lord is such a, high thing. It is temple, the body of the Lord itself. I'm so fallen. How I can do cleaning? So they become like tend to become mental. That is one category. Then there is something called as Atma Bhakti. Atma Bhakti means actually again, no, he is too much conscious about, you ask the devotee for doing any service. Prabhu, can you do this small service? No, Prabhuji, today my job is there. I have to go to office. You know, ठीक है प्रभु, today you may be busy in office with office work, but tomorrow can you do this little service? He said, no prabhu ji, actually nowadays I'm not feeling so good, my health is also not so good and things like that, little difficult to perform this. But prabhu, I saw you morning 45 minutes you doing pranayam and things like that. No prabhu, that is required actually. Prabhupada said that we should take care of our body. Body is temple of the Lord itself. Lord is residing in our body, in our heart as Paramatma and things like that. So, Atma Bhakti, one is thinking about one's own body, mind, and relatives, friends, and things like that. Like there was one devotee who was going for book distribution. Another devotee was going with his car and he was passing through that side only. He said, Prabhu, can you please take me also for book distribution? No, 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 Prabhu, actually my children are there actually, and this, say that sometime when you take these devotees for book distribution and things like that, that time actually they dump all their, cartons and cartons of books. The seat actually of the car gets little dirty and things like that. And my elder children, elder, son, he had little, allergy, with these cartons and things like that. So he will sneeze a lot and things like that. So I cannot, please, you understand, Prabhu, these are practical things what to do. So this is called what? Atma Bhakti. One is conscious about one's own body, mind, relatives, friends, this, that, and everything. Like sometime you tell devotees, Prabhu, can you help us out for going out for registration and preaching? No, 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 Prabhuji, I'm preparing for job and things like that. ठीक है प्रभु, out of 24 hours you go 8 hours for job, 6 hours you do give for your sadhana and body and things like that. At least 1 hour or 2 hours in a week, at least you can give out for preaching. No, 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 Prabhuji, actually it is little tough as of now. I'm going through a different phase of life and this, that, and everything. So this is called what? Selfishness. So he is thinking that he is performing and he will give logics and reasons also. No, Prabhu, one should be balanced in one's life also, and I should balance my material life. And that's how I can attend morning program also. Otherwise, don't ask me to attend morning program if you ask me for doing all this service. So this is called what? Atma Bhakti. One is too much thinking about one's own body and mind and things like that. Then next one is called what? Adhokshaja Bhakti. Like sometime, the second level, Atma Bhakti, sometime newcomers, they come actually, for performing Krishna consciousness. Most of their questions are related to this Atma Bhakti or Anartha Bhakti. Anartha Bhakti means what? They are facing some challenges. Some, health issues are going on, some problems are happening. The child is facing some issue. Atma Bhakti means what? They are not able to balance their life, work-life balance, how to learn, stress management, all these things. So all these things, they are categorized into this Atma Bhakti. But we are supposed to perform what? Adhokshaja Bhakti. What is Adhokshaja? Who is Adhokshaja? Who is beyond, the sense perception actually. Who is he? Krishna. So we are supposed to do our activities actually for the pleasure of Krishna. Like, there was one devotee who approached, Jayanand Prabhu and asked, Jayanand Prabhu, you are too much busy actually serving, all the time actually. Jayanand Prabhu would be constantly serving actually, the devotees, the temple, the car, the vehicle. The vehicle is not clean, he will go and clean the vehicle. The dustbin is not clean, he will go and clean the dustbin. The bathroom is not clean, he will go and clean the bathroom. He was so dear to Prabhupada that at one point of time, actually, Prabhupada went to Los Angeles, and no, all devotees, they were in the front rows, they were doing Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, like that. And Jayanand Prabhu was no more to be seen. So Prabhupada said for the Bhagavatam class, and he said, where is Jayanand? Then they said that, he's doing some services there. This Prabhupada said, go and call him. So everybody was trying to impress Prabhupada, but Prabhupada was impressed by whom? Jayanand Prabhu. So he was so great devotee actually. So at one point of time, one devotee asked him, Prabhu, Jayanand Prabhu, what is, your preparation to go back home, back to Godhead? He said, go back home, back to Godhead. No time. I don't have time to think about this. I'm too busy serving Srila Prabhupada. Like that. Another time, actually, then, eventually as he grew, he got, cancer, very dangerous, deadly disease, actually. So, they took him to the hospital. And in the hospital, actually, some devotees came to Jai Shri Radha Madhava Bhagavan ki jai, Sri Gauranta ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Some devotees came to meet him and they asked, no, how are you and things like that. So he was very morose. No. Then they asked, why are you so morose? We understand that we are not this body, we are spirit, soul, and this, that, and everything. He said, that is not the cause of my moroseness. Actually, here when I came to the hospital, every day I was doing nice kirtan and I was describing the pastimes of Bhagavatam. I was describing the pastimes of Srila Prabhupada to all these patients who are there. But now they are not allowing me to do these things because, the doctor came and he said, you are having this cancer, you should not do these things and all. So I don't want to stay in this hospital only. Just imagine, he is undergoing so much pain, bodily pain also. At the same time, because of the push and pull of the devotees, he was admitted in the hospital. He's not thinking about his disease that I should get cured, this, that, and everything. He's thinking about what? Describing Srimad Bhagavatam. His worry is that only. So then the devotees, they took him to the other hospital, and there he was allowed. You freely speak actually to whoever wants, whomever you want, and things like that. There he was ecstatic. Then another time, same set of devotees, they went to meet him. And that time Prabhuji was jubilant actually. He was describing the pastimes of, you know, Srila Prabhupada to all those patients and everybody like that. So this was the personality. This is called what? Adhokshaja Bhakti. So we should do each and every limb of our devotional service for the pleasure of the lordships. Even the so-called taking care of the body also should be taken care, just because the body is temple of the Lord. So it is dear to the Lord. And this is a vehicle actually to perform devotional service to the Lord. Otherwise, the devotee should not be interested actually in anything else. So this is called what? Adhokshaja Bhakti. So this is what actually we are supposed to do. That is why actually in the early morning chanting time also we are supposed to, meditating this only, like Sundar Sham was describing yesterday, that we chant Hare Krishna. So we are asking or we are begging actually for the service, transcendental service actually for the lordships actually. So this is the real bhakti. But many times we become hypocrite. In the chanting time we ask for service. 2 hours we beg for service, and then daytime any service come, then we say, Prabhuji, no time. Why are you asking me only? Don't you find out anybody else? Don't you see anybody else, Prabhuji? Every time you come to me only. Are Baba, you are chanting 2 hours every day morning and begging, please give me service, please give me service. And when service comes, no, I don't want service. No, this is too much. So, of course, there is physical service and there is something called as service attitude. So, when we are begging for that service, we are actually begging for service attitude, that let my consciousness be proper actually. So, next, 5 minutes we'll quickly, 10 minutes we'll discuss quickly about, about this Anartha Bhakti, Atma Bhakti and Adhokshaja Bhakti we'll discuss more tomorrow. But now we'll quickly discuss about Sanatan Goswami describing the glories of book Bhagavad, and then eventually we'll see the glories of devotee Bhagavad. So Sanatan Goswami uh, has written one book called Krishna Stava. In that he has given these 5 slokas of the glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we'll just recite and we'll see the meaning of these 5 slokas. Sarva Sastrabdi Piyusha Sarva Vedika Satpala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnadhya Sarvalokeka Drikprada. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O nectar churned from the ocean of all the Vedic scriptures. So Sarva Sastrabdi Piyusha. So Abdi means what? Ocean. So after churning all the Vedic literatures, the nectar is Srimad Bhagavatam actually. O most prominent transcendental fruit of all the Vedas. That is what Nigama Kalpataror Phalitam Galitam Sukhamukhadamrata Davya Samyutam Pibata Bhagavata Rasamalem Muhuraho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavka. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam actually. O you who are enriched with the jewels of all spiritual philosophical conclusions. How? Because Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. There are sets of philosophies. And out of these 6 sets of philosophy, the 5 are atheistic. Only one is theistic. What is that? Vedanta Sutra. On that Vedanta Sutra also Shankaracharya gave what? Impersonal, commentary. So there is no scope only, for people to remain devotees. So that is why then, Madhvacharya, then Ramanujacharya, and all these great acharyas are coming, and they are again establishing actually the principles of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is actually natural commentary on Vedanta Sutras. Sarvalokeka Drikprada. O you who grant spiritual vision to all the people of the world. So if we are blind, sometimes we may be born, with these charma chakshus, but Srimad Bhagavatam is the real chakshu that will provide actually real jnana or real knowledge people to be see people. Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabhu Kali Dvantoti Aditya Shri Krishna Parivartita. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the prana or life of all the Vaishnavas, devotees. Srimad Bhagavata Prabhu. You are the sun which has arisen to dispel the darkness of Kali Yuga. Kali Dvanto di Aditya. Aditya means sun actually, and Dvanto means actually destroys. Sri Krishna Parivartita. So you have Parivartita means actually you have returned back. Who has returned back? Krishna only returned back in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Padma Purana describes how Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna himself. Like, first canto and second canto are the two lotus feet of Krishna. Third and fourth canto are the two thighs of the Lord. Then fifth canto is the navel of the Lord. Sixth canto is the chest of the Lord. Seventh and eighth canto are two arms of the Lord. Ninth canto is the throat of the Lord, neck of the Lord. Tenth canto is the face, the moon-like face of the Lord. The 11th canto is the forehead, and 12th canto is Jnana. That is 12th canto, the head of the Lord actually. So Srimad Bhagavatam is complete personality of Godhead like that. Next one. Paramananda Pathaya. Is it Patha? Is by mistake. Prema Varsha ka Aksharayate. Sarva Sarva Sarvan Sarvanda Sarvashevyaya Sarvanda Sarvashevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namostume. So this particular sloka describes what one gets actually by reading Srimad Bhagavatam. O Srimad Bhagavatam, I offer my respectful obeisance unto you. By reading you, one attains transcendental bliss. That is what everybody is looking for, right? Real bliss. The condensed bliss one will get when one reads Srimad Bhagavatam. For your syllables rain pure love of God upon the reader. You are always to be served by everyone, for you are an incarnation of Krishna. Madeka bandhu matsangin madguru madmahadhana madnistaraka madbhagya madananda namostu te. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O my only friend. Madeka bandhu, only friend is Srimad Bhagavatam. Mad Sangin, my only companion. You know what Srila Prabhupada took from, while going from here to America? Srimad Bhagavatam only, the translated versions of Srimad Bhagavatam actually. So Bhagavatam is the only companion actually. No. Man Mahadhan, so Srimad Bhagavatam is the teacher. Mad Guru, Man Mahadhan, the real wealth actually of the devotees. Man Nistaraka Mad Bhagya. So my deliverer and Mad Bhagya, my good fortune. How Srimad Bhagavatam is good fortune? You know that, in Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when he was wanting to counteract that, Ram Krishna Ram, Phalgu Bhagwan. That person who was saying himself as Vishnu incarnation. He was saying that I am Mahavishnu and things like that. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur went with Srimad Bhagavatam and he said him that you try all your permutation combinations of black magic and things like that. I will sit here and read Srimad Bhagavatam. Let us see what you are able to do. Bhaktivinoda Thakur opened Srimad Bhagavatam and he was reading, and that fellow was, doing all tantrikas and everything. Nothing happened actually. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that whatever that ghost spirit actually, that, this Bishakshen sent on Bhaktivinoda Thakur came and attacked on that fellow only actually. Like that. Like, Madananda Namostute. So you are only enlightener actually. Asadu sadhuta dhyayin ati nichocha taraka Hanmuska kadachinmam premnarit kantayospurha. Srimad Bhagavatam, O giver of saintliness to unsaintly people. So I know at least myself that I am a not saintly person. The Srimad Bhagavatam will provide saintliness to everybody. No? Ati nichocha taraka. Those who are fallen, see the deliverer or see the uplifter of the fallen. or Srimad Bhagavatam, or Krishna is the uplifter. Hana mucha kadachin mam. Please do not ever leave me. So these are the prayers that actually one can perform to Srimad Bhagavatam. Mam premna rit kantayospuraha. Please become manifested upon my heart and my throat, accompanied by pure love of Krishna. So Srimad Bhagavatam, you know that is the essence of all the Vedic literatures. Now quickly we'll see about the glories of Person Bhagavatam. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says the Person Bhagavatam is more merciful than Srimad Bhagavatam. So recently, actually, some 20 days before or so, in our Brahmacharya ashram, we had a debate. Who is more powerful or merciful? Book Bhagavat or devotee Bhagavat? So at the end, we came to the conclusion that both are Krishna. Unnecessary comparison is not good. But anyways, the acharyas have given the commentaries, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur specifically he describes how a person Bhagavat is more merciful than book Bhagavat also. So there is 3M formula. You can remember this. More mercy personified, moving temple of the Lord, and more powerful than book also. So 3M formula very easily you can remember. First one, how Srimad Bhagavatam is mercy personified. You can repeat. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti ratkarna rasayana katha तज्जोषणादासु अपवर्गवर्त्मनि श्रद्धा रतिर्भक्तिरनुक्रमश्यति. In the association of the pure devotees, the discussion of the pastimes and the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin. So, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says how Srimad Bhagavatam is more merciful, or the devotee Bhagavat is more merciful. So he describes that there are many people who are illiterate actually. They cannot read Srimad Bhagavatam, correct? But how they can be delivered? Just by hearing from a devotee Bhagavat, a person Bhagavat, like that. So, you know that there was one crazy Peter actually. So this crazy Peter, when he came in contact with devotees, he would just chant actually the names of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he would just hear the lectures of Srila Prabhupada. And that's how he just became amazing devotee. And then eventually he wrote, he described, or he actually translated many of the Sanskrit, literatures into English literatures actually, following the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada. So a devotee Bhagavat is more merciful than book Bhagavat. In fact, the book Bhagavat was taken actually from India to America. By whom? Devotee Bhagavat. Similarly, in our life also, book Bhagavat has come because of devotees. Devotees only come and they say, Prabhus, now is the time that you can start reading Srimad Bhagavatam, or you can purchase Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam installation is also done by whom? Devotee Bhagavat. Like next one is moving temple of the Lord. So in the third kind of Srimad Bhagavatam, the description comes how the devotees of the Lord actually they are moving temples itself. Vidura describes actually that to uh, Maitreya Muni. And this particular sloka is there in the ninth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where the Lord is describing to Durvasa Muni that how the devotees are so dear to him and how I am residing in the heart of devotees. So you can repeat after me. Sadhavo hridayam mayam sadhunam hridayam tvaham madanyattena jananti naham tebhyo managapi. So Durvasa Muni, after describing, after having the journey of all the planetary systems under the cave, under the water, above the sky, everywhere, actually, after running from the fear of Sudarshan Chakra, he goes to Lord Vishnu, and then Lord Vishnu says him, Sadhavo Hridayam Mayam. That actually I reside in the heart of my pure devotees. Sadhunam Vidvatoham. And in the heart of, in my heart, who is there? The devotees are only there. Mada Anyatyena Jananti. So now just imagine That Durvasa Muni, after doing so much endeavor, actually he has gone to where? Vaikuntha. To meet whom? Lord Vishnu. To get rid of his Sudarshan Chakra only. And Lord is saying, I don't know you only. Who are you? I know only devotees. Just imagine, such a kind of blow actually on the false ego of the materialistic people. But here we should not misunderstand, by the way, actually, Durvasa Muni, because he is great devotee of the Lord. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says why Durvasa Muni acted in that way, because he wanted to glorify actually Lord Vishnu and his devotees, because he himself is incarnation of Lord Shiva. So he is also in the mood of glorifying the devotees. But nevertheless, actually, Lord is saying that I don't know you only. Who are you? Get lost from here. I know my devotees only. You try troubling my devotee, Amrish. Now get out of here, like that. The Lord is saying, Mad anyat tene jananti. I don't know anybody else apart from my devotees, and my devotees also don't know anybody else apart from me. Like that. The third time is more powerful than book Bhagavat. So I'm not saying this. Bhaktivedanta Swami Thakur says that the devotee Bhagavat is more powerful than book Bhagavat. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, this particular sloka comes in Adi Lila, 9 chapter 14 verse, I think. जहा भागवत पड़ा वैष्णव स्थाने जहा भागवत पड़ा वैष्णवेर स्थाने एकांत आश्रय करे चैतन्य चरणे. So in the purport to this particular sloka, Prabhupada says, if you want to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, he said, so this particular thing is being described by Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami. He is describing that in case you want to read Srimad Bhagavatam, you must approach a self-realized Vaishnava and hear from him. You can do this when you have completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So without mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one cannot read Srimad Bhagavatam, specifically in the age of Kali Yuga. So there actually Prabhupada writes that one should read actually Srimad Bhagavatam from a devotee Bhagavatam. Otherwise, one will bring out actually nonsense meanings of the same pastimes actually. For example, then he gives the description that how when Srinivasa Acharya was wanting to learn Srimad Bhagavatam, he went to whom first? Gadadhar Pandit. So Gadadhar Pandit was there actually in what is the name of that one? Tota Gopinath. Tota Gopinath, Tota one, So there are a lot of actually plants and trees are there, and there Gopinath the deity is also there. So our Gadadhar Pandit would recite there actually Srimad Bhagavatam every day, and eventually when Mahaprabhu went there actually, Gadadhar Pandit would take Srimad Bhagavatam and he would just cry, cry, cry. So the letters of Srimad Bhagavatam completely washed off. So Srinivasa Acharya was actually instructed by the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the dream that you go to uh, Gadadhar Pandit and learn Srimad Bhagavatam from him. So he went to Gadadhar Pandit and asked that, can you please describe me, or can you please teach me Srimad Bhagavatam? Gadadhar Pandit said, no, I cannot describe you Srimad Bhagavatam only because Bhagavatam is only not there. It has washed away. All the letters are gone only. So then Srinivasa Acharya again goes back to Bengal. 6 months it takes for him to write Srimad Bhagavatam again. Then again he comes back. But then again, Gadadhar Pandit was not more there. Actually. Then Srinivasa Acharya travels to Vrindavan. And there, on the way, actually, in Mathura, only hears that actually Rup and Sanatan, they are also gone again. Again, he starts crying, actually, like that. Then, again, eventually goes and takes shelter of La Jiva Goswami. And Jiva Goswami trains, actually, uh, Srinivasa Acharya, then Narottam Das Thakur, and Shyamanand Pandit. All three of them actually were trained by Srila Jiva Goswami, like that. So, there Prabhupada says that actually one should read Srimad Bhagavatam from a devotee Bhagavatam, like that. Okay. So just in conclusion, time is already 8:23. I will not take much time. What we discussed today, in the beginning we discussed about how Srimad Bhagavatam, human reason fails actually just by the pastimes, how Srimad Bhagavatam, of reading of book Bhagavat or hearing from a devotee Bhagavat, how the transformation of the heart takes place, human reason will completely fail. There we discuss actually the pastime of the queen or the princess actually was running away from the Kashmir to Vrindavan actually. There are more details to that particular pastime. Eventually, sometime later, we'll discuss how she comes to Vrindavan and how she becomes a great devotee of the Lord, how she performs her bhakti and things like that. So human region completely fail. Then afterwards we discussed about there are the context of this particular sloka. That is, this particular sloka describes Anartha Nivritti and Nishtha Bhakti both. And how one will reach to Nishtha Bhakti from Anartha Nivritti? By doing serving these two Bhagavatas, the book Bhagavat and devotee Bhagavat. Then we discussed about three levels that sadhaka performs bhakti on. First one is Anartha Bhakti. He is too much conscious about his anarthas and things like that. Next one is Atma Bhakti. Atma Bhakti is he is too much conscious about his, you know, maintenance of his body, job, this, that, and everything like that. And the third level is what? Adhoksha Bhakti. One is supposed to perform bhakti for Lord Adhoksha. So that is also very important. Then eventually we discussed about the glories of Srimad Bhagavat. There we discussed actually, the five slokas that are described by Srila Sanatana Goswami in Krishna Stava. And then we discussed about 3M, 3M, that how the devotee Bhagavat is more merciful than book Bhagavata also. So mercy personified, moving temples of the Lord, and more powerful than the book. So the takeaway message is that actually, whatever it is, we should take advantage of both the devotee Bhagavat and the book Bhagavat. We should not simply just want to get out of or get rid of the devotee Bhagavat and the book Bhagavat. So practically speaking, when we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, many times we may not feel taste ourselves. We may feel sleepy and things like that. So best is actually we come together and read with devotees. Then it becomes more relatable actually like that. And another practical application is that never miss Srimad Bhagavatam classes. Wherever we are. So one time, this very famous pastime that Radhashyamru went with one other brahmachari to Mayapur. And this brahmachari was not there in the morning program, Bhagavatam class. And Radhashyamru asked him, Are, how come today, uh, uh, Pankaj Angripur gave such a wonderful class. How come you missed it? He said, Prabhuji, when we are in Pune, the policy is that we are supposed to attend Bhagavatam class every day. But what is the policy when we are there outside of Pune like that? So the policy of the heart should be there that wherever we are, actually we should hear Srimad Bhagavatam like that. Not only here in the temple or in the yoga or at the home, but wherever we are, we should try to hear Srimad Bhagavatam every day. So sometime it may not be possible that we can come to temple physically, but we can always tune with the, you know, our particular temple wherever we are staying. Actually, we can connect on Zoom, we can connect on YouTube and hear Srimad Bhagavatam. But hearing in association of devotees is more important than hearing through online. Because when we are hearing online, our video is off. Sometimes we are, there in the kitchen. Sometimes we are there, eating prasadam. Sometimes we are addressing so many other things. Sometimes we see our mobile. Something else has come in the, WhatsApp chat, and we are thinking about that only. And something is being told in the class, and we are not conscious. But when we are there in the association of devotees, then suppose you are doing something like that, another devotee will tap you, Prabhu, kya chal raha hai? Like that. And we will also have little image consciousness, right? We will also be little conscious that I should be present consciously in the temple of the Lord like that. So hearing physically in the association of devotees is much more important than hearing just through YouTube and things like that. Of course, in the worst case, anyway, hearing is more important than not hearing. Okay. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments, any of you? Yes, please.
Okay, very my question is related to that. Sometimes, I want to use all my resources of engineering Krishna service, but some devotee ask me for my wife that I'm very consciously if like he is driving somebody if two people are sitting and they are not so many things come in mind. Another time is giving dancing or just the laptop in the drama. So next time I'll be conscious not to do so. What should be a proper etiquette? See, it is a very simple thing. Whenever we use anything,
First thing is that one should be very clear in his consciousness that whatever the distraction of the vehicle or anything that has to take place will take place even if you use also. Correct, no? So don't hesitate to use it in the service of the Lord. Another thing is that whenever you are giving to somebody else, you can clarify, Prabhu, when you are taking it, you take the responsibility. And in case the devotee is ready to take responsibility, then you can give. And in case the devotee says, no, Prabhu, I can't take responsibility, then so I gave the example that the devotee should not take his car. I was giving example the devotee was already going in that way. And he was not having anybody else also. He was going alone. So he said, Prabhu, 3 cartons are there. Can you please help me? He said, no, Prabhu. My son has allergy whenever these cartons are put and dust is falling, this, that, and all. This is too much. This is extreme, correct? No? Like suppose you are going from here to yoga and some devotee says, Prabhu, you are going alone. Can you please take me also? No, Prabhu, my bike behind will get spoiled. Or the tire, air, it will may get burst and things like that. But then you give like this kind of logic that is extreme. Too much selfishness. But at the same time, whenever you are giving your things, you be conscious also. Don't give to irresponsible fellows. Otherwise, they will spoil and give it. Sometimes we may have an idea that actually that person will use it in service. But rather than using in service, actually you may use it in his personal sense gratification only. And sometimes we may hesitate that how I can say like this and all. So my father says one very simple formula to me. From day one he has been telling this one. The problem with so-called Indians is while giving things, we hesitate. How can I say him? He will feel bad. But while fighting, we will not hesitate. पूरा ताना बाना लेकर आ जाएंगे, कैसे कर दिया and things like that. So while giving only, we can be, very clear that Prabhu, you want to use it, you can use it, but take responsibility of it. Like I'll give an example. Abhay Govinda Prabhu was there in, there, Manipal, and his car was there. So some friends of him, they came and they said, we need your car and things like that. He is merciful devotee. He gave. And those fellows actually they took the car and it was raining heavily and they they made it like kind of a bullock cart only out of it. And then they brought it. And then he was, calling and asking Prabhu they have taken car and things like that. I said, Prabhu, why you given them and things like that? You should clarify actually like that. So next time onwards, he's very cautious. Anybody whom he gives, first he is very careful that, Prabhu, you take the responsibility. Whatever situation I give you, you give me in the same situation and things like that. In case if they are not ready to take responsibility, don't give. Simple thing like that. Because you also need it for performance of your services like that. Then another time actually, from Pune, some devotees came actually for book distribution. So they were loading and taking books actually, and he was only going with them actually. So then he came to Bangalore, and with us also he was doing book distribution. We were also putting full books and like in his car. We made kind of go down out of the car only, loading it and taking everywhere and things like that. We were mercifully using it for service of the Lord. But for personal sense gratification, one should not give like that. So be careful. And in the yoga and voices, we have this policy also. Don't give anybody more than 500 rupees cash to each other. If you give more than 500, don't ask us if that person is not returning. If you are giving more than 500, then assume that you are giving it as a donation. If you give it back, then be happy. Like that. So if you do a transaction like that, so these are very clear-cut policies. Don't, give to those fellows who are irresponsible fellows and who spoil your resources actually. Like that. Don't feel shy while clarifying. Okay. Any other? Somebody else was asking. Yes. The time is 8:30. Those of you have to go to office. Feel free to move out. I'm sorry, for extending. Yes, bro. Hare Krishna.
Yes. These all Prabhupada books are recorded from the Prabhupada. So
That way they are Bhagavad only. There is no difference. Right? But still, one should read Srimad Bhagavatam also, the book Bhagavata also, because the slokas, the direct words of Vyasadeva are there. Yes. I was just expecting only this question. Thank you for asking this. So I also asked similar question to His Holiness Bhakti Asra Vaishnav Swami Maharaj. Recently, he had come to Bangalore. So in our Brahmachari class, I asked him that Maharaj, sometimes, most of the times, I'm too much anxious to complete my rounds, or too much anxious that let things get over and things like that. Maharaj, then he quoted the pastime of Dumdukari and Gokarna. So tomorrow's class will discuss this particular pastime in detail, Dumdukari and Gokarna. That also describes the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this Dumdukari was, his brother of, Gokarna only. But nevertheless, actually, he goes back home back to her dad. Long story cut short. But when the Vishnu Dutas or Hari Dutas, they come to take actually these Dumdukari back home back to God, at that time, our Gokarna asks many questions to them. So he asked them that why are you not taking others? They also heard Srimad Bhagavatam. So that time they describe that how japa gets spoiled, how the result or the effect of hearing gets spoiled, how the result of dana gets spoiled, and one more thing was how the result of one is japa, one is hearing, one is dana, and one more was I forgot. I've written. I'll refer it and tomorrow I'll describe. So there he describes how the result of hearing gets spoiled. The result of hearing gets spoiled if you don't do two things: mananam and nididhyasanam. So one doesn't get any effect, one doesn't get any result if one doesn't do these two things. Two things are what? Mananam and nididhyasanam. So he describes how others they did not do these two things, mananam and nididhyasanam. Like those villagers and all, they did not do. But Dumdukari, every day, daytime, he would hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Full night, he will do contemplation. Because he was in the ghostly body, no? He doesn't have any duties. He doesn't have to eat. He doesn't have to do anything. So he will do continuous, consciously he would just do meditation actually on whatever he has heard. So Mananam and Nididhyasanam, practical applications actually would meditate. And that's how actually Lord came in his heart and eventually he went back home back to God. So, of course, just by coming and sitting and hearing and not understanding anything also will have, benefit us. Because one will get what? Bhakti Sukriti. And that Bhakti Sukriti as it increases. Once it reaches the count of 100, Prabhupada says, job is done. You are clear of your anarthas and you reach to Nistha Bhakti. Like that. But in case if we can do Mananam and Nididhyasanam, we write some notes and then this daytime discuss with devotees. Like when we are taking prasadam, tell something that you heard and the practical application of that. Then your Shastra Chaksu also will develop very nicely. Like that. So discuss with your friends or share with your friends. Like that. See, sometime when we are in the beginning of Krishna consciousness, anything we read now, we want to share with everybody. Let everybody know about this particular thing. But then as eventually time passes and things like that, one becomes too much monotonous. He shares, आज क्लास में क्या सुना था? क्लास वही रेगुलर वाली चीज, हम शरीर नहीं आत्मा है एंड सबको डेली क्लास में आना चाहिए, सोना नहीं चाहिए, यही सब सुना था. Not able to recollect even one point also. That means what? Only Agyat Sukriti came. So more benefit one will get when one is consciously hearing about Srimad Bhagavatam. It is like when we are consciously doing these two, Mananam and Nididhyasanam, then what happens? 1000 credit one gets. But when we are not doing that thing, then one gets only 1 credit. So 1000 times you do that credit and then after that you accumulate 1000, or one time you do and then you get 1000. Which one is more time saving? One time you hear, you get the result of 1000 times. So that's how it is. So quality of hearing also matters. Yes, please.
But sometimes it helps also that if we are conscious about us, we can take some practical things so that some practical concepts that if we do much sleep and night time and morning time we get sleep. So this is also like this thing we take care. Then another is there, but if we take care of it, okay, why we don't want to get more in the night? We can consider like about so that in the Bible.
So that you will not be able to please Krishna. Correct, na? So we should be more conscious of whom? Pleasing Krishna than sleeping in the japa. But many times what happens, we are too much conscious about, अरे नींद आ जाएगा, अरे हो जाएगा, अरे वो हो जाएगा, and things like that. What devotees will think about me that मैं जप में सो रहा था. and somebody comes and that fellow, he will come and hit me only if I sleep in the japa. So, I will teach him a lesson tomorrow. When he is sleeping, that time I'll go and just hit him also. That prove you are also sleeping. So this is called what? Anartha bhakti. But if you are conscious that actually I should not sleep in japa because that will not be pleasing to Krishna, then that is what called? Not anartha bhakti. That is adhoksha bhakti. But many times we are like, see, there is something called as humility and there is something called as inferiority complex. So humility means what? One is after, well, suppose somebody is humble, no? The result is that he'll be enthusiastic to do services. Somebody who is in inferiority complex, then such a person, he will think that I am humble, but more or time less he is in ignorance only. Practically, he will not do anything. He will be depressed, anxiety. I think I'm good for nothing. I can't do anything. But if somebody is humble, that means he will be enthusiastic also. So that is what will happen. So if you are doing adhokshaja bhakti, then what will happen? You will be more enthusiastic to do services. You will like the best of the items are there in the night time. You will just reject it like this only. But sometime only rice item is there. Oh, ठीक है, tomorrow morning जपा में नींद आएगा इसलिए छोड़ देते हैं इसको. Pakoda, gulab jamun, rasgulla, samosa, kachori, everything is there. That ठीक है, unchained wine is available. Then that is not adhoksha bhakti. That is another bhakti. Okay. Yes. So the question is, many times we may go for nectar shopping, not knowing our position, we may assume something. So last time Abhay Gundru was giving class, he was quoting S.B. Keshav Swami Maharaj, that fake it till you make it, but don't fake it so much that you start assuming that you have made it. Understanding, no? So this is what happens when we do too much nectar shopping. We hear too much, these pastimes and things like that. That is why we should have one, guide who is telling you to do what. Another thing is what Radheshyam Bro was describing is many times, we hear partially only our, superiors also. So much we hear from Prabhupada that you should do services for what? Pleasing Krishna. So that is what we are talking about adhoksha bhakti, right? That you talk about your anarthas, we talk about all these things, so that actually these things are becoming obstacles to perform devotional service. So anything that becomes obstacle to devotional, performing devotional service or to serve the Lord, those things we try to avoid. It is not only anarthas, even the ecstasy also. Correct, no? That is why there is a devotee who says that actually, oh Lord, I am doing chamar for you, but the tears are coming. They are simply becoming an obstacle for my service to you. So I just want to get rid of all this ecstasy. So not only anarthas, even the so-called ecstasy also one wants to get rid. That is called pure devotional service. So on the other hand, sentimental devotees, what they will say, they will try to do show off to others. Like I know one devotee. So one day he gave IYF class in Sesadapuram temple, 8 o'clock, At one particular point of the time, while describing the pastime, some tears came in his eyes. We thought probably great devotee and things like that. Then, 11 o'clock again he gave same class. And many of us again we retained back actually for 11 o'clock also. Because morning class he gave wonderful class. Again you are describing same event. Again at the same time again tears came in his eyes. And then he was talking too much about, detachment, this, that and all. And then, two of us we were serving. So, while serving him, we thought Prabhuji too much detached, so we brought simple prasad and all. He said, where is Rajbhog? I said, Prabhuji, हमने तो सुना था कि we should be detached. No, Rajbhog नहीं अभी temple president से तुम्हारा complaint करता हूँ मैं and things like that and all like that. And we got scared, बाप रे, अभी क्या होगा हमारा? Anyways, Anukulpu knows. So he told something to Anukulpu. Anukulpu came and he said me something. I said, Prabhuji, because he described like this in the class, that is why we thought like this, assumed like this. Then he was asking some butter, ice creams and this, that and everything. butter, there are milk ice cream, there are, butter or this one, curd ice cream. He was demanding curd ice cream and they were not available nearby. You have to travel some 15 kilometer and all like. So one may speak big things, but practically not applying them, that is of no use. So one thing is that. Second thing is, anarthas are there. Yes, everybody has anarthas. Who doesn't have? But too much focus on the anarthas is not at all good. We should focus on service to the Lord, service to the devotees. At the same time, purification of the heart is also required. One should not start assuming that I have reached to the level of pure devotional service, or I am a Suddha Bhakta, or I am a advanced devotee and things like that. That is why many times actually what happens in the life of a sadhaka is too much puffed up. He thinks that I am graduate from such and such university, I am having such a big job, I am earning so much money and I am giving so much donation. So in order to bring his tempo down, to bring his, false ego down, the seniors they may say, Prabhu, understand first your position. No, you are like this. But then it's not go to the other extremity also, that one becomes only anartha conscious. One should become actually rather Krishna conscious. Understanding that. So like Sundaryam was saying that he did not join ISKCON for getting rid of anarthas. We all actually came to bhakti for what? To serve Krishna, to please Krishna. Correct or no? We did not come to bhakti for what? To purify, to get rid of anarthas or something like that. Eventually we got to know that, okay, there are anarthas also, we are supposed to get rid. But one should not become too much extra conscious about those anarthas that one thinks about anarthas only and forget about Krishna. So that should not happen. At the same time, going to the esoteric pastimes and things like that. So whatever pastimes we discuss, we are not describing the esoteric pastimes. Sometimes esoteric pastimes may agitate one's mind and things like that. Then one need not hear those things. The other books of Prabhupada, reading Krishna book is allowed for everybody, except those six chapters. That in the beginning only we mark to, don't read these 6 chapters. Apart from those 6 chapters, you can read all chapters again and again, no problem. Like that. So reading Krishna pastimes, hearing about Krishna's like this kind of pastimes is not esoteric. One should hear other more and more. Okay? Hare Krishna. Any other questions, comments? There are some devotees online, so I'll just thank them first. So there is Yogesh Prabhu, Bhavana Mataji, Ipsita Mataji. I think Suman Mataji was also there. And all other devotees also. Thank you very much for joining. Hare Krishna.